These days, the origin of the universe is explained by proposing a big bang, a single event that instantly brought into being all the matter from which everything and everyone are made. The ancient Greeks had a different idea. They said it all started not with a bang, but with chaos. Was chaos a god, or a divine being, or simply a state of nothingness? Or was chaos, just as we would use the word today, a kind of terrible mess, like a teenager's bedroom, only worse? Think of chaos, perhaps, as a kind of grand cosmic yawn, as in yawning chasm or yawning void. Whether chaos brought life and substance out of nothing, or whether chaos yawned life up, or dreamt it up, or conjured it up in some other way, I don't know, and you don't know. Yet I wasn't there, and nor were you. And yet, in a way, we were. Because all the bits that made us were there. It's enough to say that the Greeks thought it was chaos, who, with a massive heave or a great shrug or hiccup or vomit or cough, began the long chain of creation that has ended with pelicans and penicillin, toadstool, toads, sea lions, seals, lions, human beings and daffodils, and murder, and love, and confusion, and death, and madness, and biscuits.
Thank you, Michael. Well, here we are in my 5-acre wood in Holton in Halesworth, and I'm going to give you a guided tour of the solar system here. Now, I'm not an astronomer, although I love attending Astros meetings and I love learning. So I'm making that declaration to start with. What we did here with the kids was we introduced them to this idea of the planets, and we introduced them to the science of it, the physics of it, as well as the mythology. And there was Michael reading from Stephen Fry's excellent book, Mythos. And we'll hear a little bit more from that a bit later on. So I'm going to hand the camera to Michael, and he's going to walk us round. Thank you, Michael. Here I am. Welcome. We based it on the Swedish system. The Swedes have done this in their country, in their long country. And they had the scaled version of the universe, both in scale size and in scale distance. We couldn't do distance. We'd end up in Southland, or we'd have planets the size of peas. So we've just got the scale size of the planets, and based on the diameter, here they are. So I've got them here. This is my calculation. So this is a diameter size. This is the sun, 1.390000 kilometers in actual size. The Swedish sun is 71 meters. Our sun is 35 meters. And there are the size of the planets relatively, as you're going to see them. Right, so the sun, 35 meters. Nothing of that size here. The parachute here is 7 meters. So what we did was we unfurled a piece of golden material from here all the way through. I don't know if you can see it, but behind me, oh, did you see the jackdaw coming out? He came out of the nest just at that moment in time of the ash tree there. That's 35 meters. My goodness, that was amazing. Follow me. So I want to introduce you, first of all, to our International Space Wagon. solar-powered space disco. Unfortunately not working at the moment. Battery's gone down. We've had it inside because of the rain. It's got its own sat-nav here, the solar system. It's a converted trike. It's got a solar panel on here, and inside a battery and a very, very good speaker. And when we toured the solar system on our event, which I'm going to come to, we had music all the way, and we started with Don't Stop Me Now. Right, so we got some funding. Yeah, we got some funding. Thank you very much, Norfolk community. The wind farm up at Houghton funded part of us, and an Irish company funded another part. We had an event for the vernal equinox 2020. Guess what happened on the 21st of March 2020? Almost lockdown. We had no party. Well, we had a small gathering. It was before absolute lockdown. So music all the way, please imagine it. And if I remember, I'll tell you what music we had. But let's go to our first planet here. Our first planet, close to the sun, is the winged messenger. It is Hermes. No, it's not that DHL courier. It's Mercury. Follow me. We've got Mercury here in our bender. So this is a wonderful attribute of Hazel, to bend. A bit like Mercury itself, the winged messenger. So what we did with the kids, the great fun and the kind of the physics of it really, was to get the idea of a rotation on its axis of the planets and a rotation around the sun. So we had the sun as the fire pit, we had one person as Earth, and we had one person as Mercury, Venus, Mars, etc. And we got them all rotating on their axis with the slant, if it was a slant, or this way. And if it was anti-clockwise, it went this way or this way. And we had them trying to do it at the same time. So, for example, the speed of Mercury around the sun is obviously enormous. It takes 88 days to 165. But the rotation is extremely slow. So it's 59 days is the rotation of Mercury. So that's where we had great fun and enjoyment with all the planets. Next planet, Venus. We're going to go via the next bender here. This is the bender to house our International Space Wagon, and we've covered that bender with a tarp to keep our bikes in place. Follow me. Michael thinks I should tell you about this. It's called the Giant Bath Bomb, and somebody very kindly gave us, it's a wedding tent, this wedding tent, which has been very useful in the rainy season that we've been having. Swing. It was very successful. Yes, here we swing. Yes, here's Venus. And Venus de Milo, a natural image for Venus. So very similar size to Earth. I think Venus is 32 centimeters in diameter, and or 30, and the Earth is 32. The hottest planet turns anti-clockwise. I'm going to go swiftly on to Mars. And here's Mars also. I'll wait till you come because of the sound. Here is Mars, also in a bender, the red planet, and the god of war. And being the god of war, we made two shields, one for Greek and one for Roman, and some swords. One shield's gone missing, goodness knows where the swords are, but we had some really good battles between the Greeks and the Romans. As you know, the nearest planet to Earth is Mars, and here is Earth. Now, Earth is made by one of the children's fathers. His name is James Nobbs. James Nobbs. Nobbsy, that's right. And he's an artist, and you can see his work sometimes at the Raveningham Sculpture Trail. I think he did a fish last year. Anyhow, as you see, it's made out of cutlery. And Neil Armstrong very kindly left his helmet behind for us. But what is so sweet to see is I can see with Earth, I can see Mars in my vision, I can see Venus, and I can see Mercury. So I can begin to see the size of planets. But the best of all is to see Earth in comparison to Jupiter, which is our next planet. And Michael, I don't know if you could come round here and just show the perspective of Earth to Jupiter. Have you got that there? Sunday, there's motorbikes out. We're going to go under the astral belt to Jupiter. Astral belt's been a bit broken, but here it is. I'm going to help Michael under it. And here's Jupiter. So I'm going to go over to it. I just moved it around a bit so you could see it quite clearly. We've got the red eye of the storm. A child actually told me that it was the wrong size. Actually, the right size would be the circumference of a bicycle wheel. So this has been made by material found in the wood, discarded by a farmer. This ducting pipe, and it's 3.5 meters in diameter. Now, Jupiter was the king of the gods, really. Oh, sorry, Zeus was the king of the gods. We had hosts, planets, that's what I was going to tell you. Hosts, planets, Jupiter, when we got here. And we're going to go to Jupiter. We're going to go to Jupiter's father next, Saturn and Kronos. Come. Can you come a little bit closer so that you can hear me? I don't know what the sound is like on these phones. Well, as you see, it's not complete. We have to raise it and finish it. But you can see the principle of it is the rings of Saturn, of course, is the bicycles. And we begged and borrowed, we didn't borrow. We were given many bicycle wheels that were unwanted. And as you see, I've got a few more there to fulfill this shape. Well, I'm going to hand you over. I'm going to give you a little bit of background first, but I'm going to hand you back over to Michael, who's going to take a chair, and he's going to read us a little bit about the god Kronos. The most important thing to say of Kronos is he was just the background, not the most important thing, the background, is he was the son of Uranus and Gaia. Uranus and Gaia had 12 children, and Kronos always hated his father. But it was Gaia, his mother, who really stirred the pot and arose or fed the embers of his hatred. I'm going to take the camera here and go round here, and Michael's going to get out Stephen Fry. And one of the elements of Kronos, while he finds the page, He was also the god of time. So we've got a clock on here. And the scythe, well, yes, that comes into the story. Somebody very kindly gave me a scythe here. On each of the trees we have a little, on each of the trees beside them, we have a little bit about the god here.
Yes.
Whoops.
Gaia, roared Uranos as he approached. Prepare yourself. Tonight we shall breed something better than hundred-handed mutants and one-eyed freaks. The horrible sounds of a lustful deity, slobbering, slapping and grunting, suggested to him that his father was attempting some kind of foreplay. In his alcove, Kronos breathed in and out 5 times. Never for a second did he weigh the moral god of what he was about to do. His thoughts were only for tactics and timing. With a deep inhalation, he raised the great sickle and stepped swiftly sideways from his hiding place. Uranos, who'd been preparing to lie on top of Gaia, sprang to his feet with an angry snarl of surprise. Walking calmly forward, Kronos swung the scythe back and swept it down in a great arc. The blade, hissing through the air, sliced Uranus's genitals clean from his body. All cosmos could hear Uranus's maddened scream of pain, anguish, and rage. Never in creation's short history had there been a sound so loud or so dreadful. All living things heard it and were afraid. Kronos leapt forward with an obscene cry of triumph, catching the dripping trophy in his hands before it could hit the ground. Uranos fell writhing in immortal agony and howled out these words: Kronos, vilest of my brood and vilest in all creation, worst of all beings, fouler than the ugly Cyclops and the loathsome Hecatonchires, with these I curse you. May your children destroy you as they destroyed me. And we just go on to the end of Kronos, when he is identified as Old Father Time. Old Father Time, his sallow, drawn features tell us of the inevitable and merciless ticking of Kronos' clock. Driving all to their end days. The scythe swings and cuts like a remorseless pendulum. All mortal flesh is as grass between the ruthless sweep of its mowing blade. We find Kronos in all things, chronic or synchronized, in chronometers or chronographs and chronicles. The Romans gave this saturnine, sallow husk of a defeated title the name Saturn. And he hangs in the sky between his father Uranus and his son Jupiter.
Thank you, Michael. As indeed he does here. And I'm going to walk you over to his father, naturally. Here is his father, Uranus. Actually, part of this has been made by Michael, who's catching me up on the way, made out of willow. Now, one of the things I want to do is to ask your help. I want to inhabit the planets with more personality. So, for example, Uranus, I think, lies on its side. So I need to get some kind of north-south axis coming out of him. So any ideas you might have with moons, with turnings, with axes, let me know at the end of here. Our last planet, however, is over here. We're right at the last moment. Our last planet here is Neptune. Fittingly, a bird feeder. No, I don't mean that. Fittingly by the water. And the water is a pond. Well, two ponds actually. And these are the oldest parts of the wood. They're in a map of about 1600. Unlike the rest of the wood, which wasn't planted, well, between 1890 and 1910. I've got two maps, one in which the wood is and one in which the wood isn't, and the one in which the wood is. But here, beside the pond, we've got these absolutely fabulous hornbeams. And these would have been old coppice hornbeams. The violin case there, that's a bird's nest. And there's upstairs, downstairs there, actually, full of moss. And here's the other hornbeam. These two very ancient, probably 300, 400, 500 years old. Coppice. Even longer, I don't know. But here is everything we found in the ponds. It was used by, this site was used as a hospital site during the Second World War. So we've got an old frying pan, a rather wonderful old shoe that we found in the pond. And behind us is my cabin, made out of the oak from the wood. So the oak never left the wood. There were 12 dead oaks here when I came, and we felled them, got a bandsaw in, and it cut to a cutting list, and it was made by two remarkable people who had never made a hut before, Paul Jackson and Graham Norgate. And as you see, my telescope is up there, so I come here of an evening and as an amateur watch the stars. Thank you very much.
Ja, ik zei, stop dit aan.